Welcome back, everyone, to Disco Elysium. John here, your host and amateur cult leader fired for insider trading. When we last left our hero, he was fresh from a meeting with Everard Clare, head of the Dockworkers Union. The Bodies Union. And we finally got our victim down from the tree. Kim and I both suspect there's more to it, so we're delaying sending the body in for processing so we can perform a more thorough autopsy later. This requires a freezer to store it and preserve any evidence it still contains. Unfortunately, our options are few. Either the Whirling, the Fritz store, or asking the kids if there's a fridge we can use.
Can I help you?
As you can see, Gart is not exactly a fan of our store the body in his freezer plan. And not even Kim's maxed out authority skill can challenge him. I like that he was only incredulous when Kim suggests it. He expects this shit from us. While we're here though, let's look into this special borscht. Money is always good. On a whim, we ask Mr. Kubek here about using his freezer. Kim identifies his ethnicity, which I believe is called a Koiko from Grod. To judge from his reaction, he seems to take pride in it. Nice to see someone in a good mood around here. Fortunately, he understands enough to convey the body won't fit. Authority being a wee bit prejudicial about how much Kubek knows about bodies and fridges. Asking about the borscht now. Conceptualization lets us say some cool nonsense in the face of a language barrier. Mercury rising, boyo. He seems to think we're from the Union, and is asking if the recipe needs more vodka. Kim explains. A little liquor in their soup keeps the men happy. Necktie tags in for electrochemistry and wants a piece of that action, while logic reminds us that adding more alcohol to a tense situation is just a little bit dangerous. I could see a case being made that this isn't all that harmful, but let's dial it back a bit. Thanks, Mr. Kubek. Hope you never stop loving your job. Well, come on, Kim. We'll take our body to a competing place of business. Off camera, I found out the hole in the fence was from a car, and possibly the same car that left the canal. At least those tracks went off in the same direction. Not clear if this is related to the lynching or not. We'll have to investigate that on the other side. I did also talk to that guy Rene, whose guardhouse we checked out after we hopped the wall. Did get a bit more of his backstory, but nothing about the photo. He hasn't been working there since they locked down the harbor, so he didn't see what happened that day.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Naturally, the Frit clerk just wants the day to be over with already, so of course 2 cops walk in wanting to shove a body in the fridge. Just not even 2 days into this, and this is what we're down to. It's not even big enough, go figure. With a little effort, you could turn this game into a Monty Python sketch or something. Just 2 cops on an important murder case, sheepishly asking everyone on the block if they can store a body in their fridge. Well, pains me to admit it, but we have to do the unthinkable and ask Kuno for help. God knows what that little shit has in mind. Couple other side things I omitted. I sold the postcard from the harbor, and Roy mentioned that the Union guys had stopped by his shop looking for the gun. That means they don't have it, or at least didn't at the time. The doorbell across the way is mostly just flavor, though there is an interesting event with a pre-recorded voice, one that triggers a bad memory for HoboCop. Alright, kid, let's hear it.
Fuck, does Kuno care?
Do you somehow happen to know of a large working freezer that nobody will mind if we store a body in it? And apparently he does, too. Well then. Of course, he's not going to tell us for nothing. I'm surprised this isn't a suggestion check, but I suppose rhetoric fits too. 58%'s a coin flip, so... let's play along. Remind him that the killing happened on his turf, and makes him look weak. Yeah, that grinds the little gears in your head, doesn't it, kiddo? Shivers hasn't come up much, but someone described it as your David Lynch skill. It's mostly flavor text, but occasionally it has some genuine insight purely through intuition. So there's a fridge in the basement of the big commercial building opposite the Whirling, now mostly abandoned except for the bookstore. For some reason, this thing looks like a bear. I have prepared several puns for when we find it. Consider yourselves warned. Anyway, we have to go through the bookstore to get in, and a few episodes back we touched on how the store owner is seemingly worried about some supernatural threat. Her daughter mentioned a curse that has caused every other business in the building to fail. We'll need her permission, or her key, to pass through. You didn't hear it from Kuno, but don't forget where you heard it from. You know what? The more I talk to this kid, the more I feel like I've known a bunch like him, and possibly been like him at some point. Maybe that's why I want to wring the little twerp's neck. Right, let's boogie. We're going to want the other tools for this. The building is empty, or at least it's supposed to be, so it's not likely to have power. Flashlight's a good idea. I looked into this afterward, and apparently Annette here can also tell you about the fridge, in case you failed to check with Kuno.
Hello again, sir.
She's the one that tells us about the curse, but when asked about crime novels, didn't seem to believe that Hobocop is a detective. Our composure has a pretty good chance to convince her. And it picks up on one interesting tidbit. She always keeps her hands hidden. Kim's watching us at work. Maybe he sees a little bit of the detective we used to be. She's got some spunk to her, but there's a pretty obvious reason she's been biting her nails so much. Namely, her mother's putting a lot of pressure on her about the business. Alright, fair's fair. Give the little lady a turn. She sees we're currently sober. Oh, I gotta read this. The lieutenant does not flinch at the comment. He does not flinch even a single bit. He is intensely not flinching. It takes effort. I love this game so much. Anyway, she's probably seen us around and knows a little bit about our antics, but wishes us well nonetheless. Good kid. Something about this seems familiar, though. What do you have for us, suggestion? Damn, nothing yet. We'll need a little more suggestion for another crack at it. Ah, well. Sit tight, kiddo. Need to talk to your mother about some grown-up stuff, like curses and irrational fears.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Like I said, we need to go through places to get further into the building. But first, we should bring up the anxiety she's giving her daughter, and not just because it helps Annette. There's a broader pattern of behavior we need to address here. Kim and I agree. She's been saddled with the stress of working for the store at such a young age. It's not fair or healthy for her, especially when the stress is coming from her own mother. Volition gets it. It's not easy to admit you're wrong about something fundamental. Fortunately, she does genuinely care for her daughter, enough to do the right thing and invite her back inside. See, what I really like about this game is you run across people like this, and you might not like what they're doing, but you can see the pathos at work. She's not being a bad parent for kicks, but somewhere along the line she just took the wrong lessons to heart. She herself had her business-first mindset pushed onto her by her husband, and her own mother seemed to have belittled her from a young age. Kinda sad, really. Notably, her husband provided the seed money for the bookstore, but has been a silent partner since. Too silent, says rhetoric. It's alright, I get it. Kids, they change things in ways nobody can fully prepare for. She's still putting the business first, but give it time. Change is slow, and tough to make last. Now, about our actual reason for being here. Can we stuff a body in the fridge? She's still paranoid about letting people back there. We can, and will, convince her to let us pass, but it is possible to just shoulder check the door. There may even be a key lying around, though I didn't find one when I went looking. Composure gets it. She's not just keeping clients where she can see them. She's wound tighter than a watch spring, and it's not hard to see why. The commercial area got a visit from Doom Guy. She's gone all in on her superstition and was trying hard to hide it. She genuinely thinks the building is cursed, and that any business in it will inevitably fail. Inland Empire is getting spooked. Cacodemons. See, I told you, Doom Guy was here. He needs to come back and finish the job. She claims she's had parapsychologists and other supposed experts help with constructing wards for the door. It's quite possible she was just conned by someone exploiting her paranoia. Gonna guess that this amulet, made by desert pixie shamans, got spit out of a machine across town. She even says she had spells put on the books that supposedly boost sales by 15%. And I like to imagine special accountant witches that chart out the formula. Yes, this invocation boosted sales by 13%, but that's just... I think we can squeeze those numbers higher. Now, I talked to Chandela over in the Cursed Bog, and she says she's had good results with rat tails. We're gonna roll that out next quarter and see what happens. Now, I could say it's police business, but I could also lean into this and pretend I'm here to lift the curse. Let's do it. Let's three amigos this shit. You'll note, despite our low drama, we can easily pass this. Convincing her to bring Annette indoors gives us a huge boost. Drama is Shakespeare by way of George Costanza. It's not lying if you believe it. Don't ever play poker with Kim. His face gives away nothing. Yeah, see, what do you think they call alcohol spirits? Eh? Eh? Just imagine that said with some eyebrow arching. I am the Void Revenant. I have the powers to deban all the bad energies. Oh, I gotta play a crazy person more often. This fucking rules. See? Inland Empire's on board. Ma'am, even I can't kill myself, and believe me, I've been trying. These things have no chance. drama, reminding us we can't break character just yet. So it's possible the building isn't completely abandoned. There seems to be someone back there. Someone she calls the Entity. Probably not what she thinks it is, but worth checking out just for some peace of mind. Volition's supposed to be our wet blanket, but logic just has no sense of fun. Come on, this'll be like Ghost Adventures. Kim holds the camera, I run around challenging ghosts to a fist fight. Just a door covered with Japanese paper boards. Nothing suspicious at all. Pardon me, David Bowie. Bah, we ain't afraid of no ghosts. In we go. Now, witches, that's another story. We see this entity, placeness on our own. That'd be a fun prank, just immediately running back outside. All taken care of, good luck, let us know what happens! Then a Simpsons style run to the car and peeling out. Oh my god. It's a gym.
What is this place?
My infernal nemesis is here to taunt me. That's one of the names on the doorbell outside. Obviously, no one answers. This place is really giving Inland Empire the heebie-jeebies. Well, let's light up and have a look around. I think the shot put ball is for the old men in the crater. It looks like what they were playing the game with. Physical instrument wants us to flex on this thing. Visual calculus suggests otherwise, noting that the weights haven't been secured. No lifting for us today, bro. Let's move along. I'm not actually clear how much the flashlight helps. These areas do unveil without it. It probably just makes it possible or easier to see the interactable stuff in darker rooms. It's nice lighting effects, though. Pay attention to the shadows cast by objects. Mannequins. This is exactly what I want to see when I go exploring old buildings. Remember, it's not stealing if it's been left behind. Conceptualization notes two different objects with Slipstream's logo on them. Sounds like a company tried to go from making skis to rotor blades. There's a story behind that, I'm sure. A strange business model, to say the least. Now, what do we have here? Computers in this era seem like they're using a stylized version of vacuum tubes and punch cards. This filament memory fits into what's called a radio computer, which kind of combines the two functions. There's a certain logic to it, since computers nowadays are literally communications devices. What's all this then? Things like this are why I'd love to do some urban exploration myself. I imagine a lot of the time you find nothing of interest, but it's fascinating to see the stuff that does get left behind, to picture of what used to be here. In this case, looks like all this is concept art for a fictional world. Electrochemistry, with the interesting view of entertainment as narcotic, is not without merit. Much of it, even something like this game, is basically escapism. Whatever they were making, it looks like it cratered at some point. Coincidentally, the filament we picked up might have some answers. Aha, they're doing tabletop shenanigans. Conceptualization knows history. It's interesting, the kind of stuff that triggers memories. Abstract connections to your past to break through the amnesia, but only in small fragments. So it sounds like this game is played remotely, through radio stations, kinda like an online tabletop session. One frequency is the GM and can listen in on all the others. Logic notes that this seems wildly unrealistic, and Kim also notices the project got more ambitious as they ran out of money. I sense commentary. Here's our computer. Little surprised this got left behind. Kim wants to play with it too. It's all good, man. I got you covered. This all reminds me of a story I once read about some guys that went to clean out a developer's old office. Data East, I think it was. It was a while ago. And stuff was just left there. Like game controllers attached to consoles, furniture, whiteboards with notes on them. Like the team wasn't even given time to pack up and leave, they were just thrown out. Kinda creepy, actually. Calm down, Empire, it's a computer. They don't even have Twitter yet, it'll be fine. Hi there. Say, you know where we can find a fridge? This radio operator seems to think we're with the company, but we need the password to prove it. Dedicated service there, considering the company's defunct. We basically just dialed their version of cloud storage, which is some old lady at a switchboard somewhere in, wherever the hell East Insul, India is. '74 and still active. Good on you, Yvonne. That's racist against programmers, Kim. I mean, it's not wrong. You never know when one typo is going to throw up 100 errors when you go to compile it. And when you finally fix it, you're not even clear why it works anymore. Well, beats becoming a crazy cat lady or something. Yeah, this Fortress Accident Company was basically trying to make D&D played by radio. Given the setting, it's a neat idea, but seemingly ahead of its time. Too far ahead, it turned out.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace?
It seems pretty straightforward to me. Kim likes the idea, even considering where it ended up. We gotta set up a session sometime, my dude. You're the paladin, I'm the wizard. We need us a rogue. Maybe get Alice on the line. I bet she'd enjoy this. Pretty much every Google hit for inter-isolary points back to the game itself, so I'm assuming that means international. You know, I've indulged in a Kickstarter project or two in my time, mostly in the early days before it became this big gold rush, and you could usually tell the companies that had a clear plan for development from those that just had, "Hey, remember X? We're making that again, but more," as their pitch. Nowadays, it's gotten weird. You have companies backed by major publishers using it, and it's sometimes just a roundabout delivery mechanism for merchandise. Anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. Plaisance warned us the entity was holed up behind this shutter. Might as well knock. This ain't random. Come on, man. This is methodical. There's a difference. We'll have to find another way in. Hell, it's probably just some homeless woman squatting in the ruins. Place has definitely seen better days. So far, this game hasn't included any overt supernatural elements, but I'm not gonna lie, the design of this place, the use of darkness and flavor text, the music, there's a natural dread to the place that only gradually levels off as you explore. The reality is we're here to bring a body in, so we're unlikely to find anything as unsettling. He says, before seeing a fridge, that's a giant fucking bear. And his eyes glow, of course. This is the thing you see, like, if you're going to the kitchen for, like, a drink or a snack at midnight, and you see the red light on your DVR or something in the adjoining room, and it looks like this eye glaring at you in the darkness. You know there's nothing there, but that little part of your brain that never grew up is going, but what if it's not? This is that, but on a fucking bear. Visual calculus explains that the bear might actually be a real-ass bear that was taxidermied into a fridge. I have so many questions. Fortunately, the fridge itself is mostly empty. Just some ice cream wrappers and a note stuck to the door. Yeah, see, the ice cream wrappers are this big cuddly cartoon character, not this fucking demon bear ready to rip our heads off and, like, devour our souls. Tried to fucking sell ice cream from this thing. I'll bet you the genius that signed off on this somehow kept his job too. Fortunately for us, this extremely poor idea for ice cream marketing is nonetheless well suited to store the body for a while. Let's do this. Picking up your sarcasm. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds a little crazy, I guess. This is where my mind comes to a dead stop and I go, I have found my answer. Bah, true art is never understood in its time. Anyway, now that we've made the crime scene a little less grisly, we can take our time with a second, more thorough inspection, and don't have those two punks in the yard jeering at us. Gives us a pretty big boost to perception, though still only a 58% chance. Not bad odds, but not great. And we did just get a skill point. Let's give ourselves a little better odds here. Before we continue, let's look around a little bit more. The bookstore owner did mention something about the chimney. We might be hearing this entity of hers. Again, we have decent odds here. Physical instrument has a bonus because we checked out the doorbell outside. But we tilt the odds a little bit here, too. Switching shirts to give us a buff for this. Pretty good chance, actually. But alas, the RNG is the ultimate escape clause. We're just not in a yelling mood right now, apparently. Aw, does this mean karaoke night is off? I was gonna kill it with September. Yeah, we'll have to come back to this one. Might as well check out the fridge note. Off-site copy. So something has been stored here. Something else that seemingly needs a freezer. Got something to do with the game company. Illiterate Ginger Kid is, admittedly, a short list of suspects. More interestingly, it means all this is fairly recent, and should still be around here somewhere. Aha, secret room. Fuck yeah, guns. Broken guns, sadly, but still. Some kind of old weapons cache, looks like. Dates back to the Revolution. More rusted rifles. But one of them looks in much better condition. Sadly, this one doesn't work either, so we can't bear arms just yet. More to the point, it means there may be other weapons caches throughout the city. It's also possible a working weapon might have been in one of them. Maybe we can swap it for a working one at some point. Resident Evil style, you know, switch it on a mantle or statue so you don't get locked into a death trap. An Ice cream machine, still running. You don't say. What better way to assuage the creeping sense of failure than some frozen fat and sugar? Touché, electrochemistry. Might be able to pop this thing. Let's get Mr. Crowbar on the case. Kim, you hold him down. I'll make him talk. Woof. Okay, yeah, we barely made a dent in this thing. Yeah, whatever this thing's made of, we're not getting it open right now. We'll need a better tool for this. Alright, let's carry on. Well, now we know how these things are getting power. Wonder if the guys who left the filament here did this. We'll leave it be for now. We definitely need that bear fridge plugged in. Doing okay on money. Might try out some other clothes on this, see what they do. Of course, 20 is the bare minimum for tomorrow night, and we're running out of places to look, but that is our burden to bear. Yeah, get comfy, folks. I got a few more of them. Right, back to the body. 72% should give us no pause, but we just failed those exact odds. Do we make it this time? Hell yeah. Let's look closer. Now, none of this is especially pleasant imagery. But Mr. Superstitious here thinks we're onto something. Perception feels it too now. There's something up with his mouth. A hole in his mouth, about 4 millimeters wide. Visual calculus knows. It's an abrasion collar. Almost certainly a gunshot wound. The hole in his mouth goes up through his brainstem. Disgusting as this is, we can feel it. There's something right on the tip of our fingers. A solid object. Sharp. A closer look at the skull finds a bump, a crack, where our fingers are pointing. Whatever it is didn't break the skull, at least not entirely. And knowing where it is helps us claw it out. Just a bit more. Can't hide from me, you little bitch. A small flower of lead, mushroomed out from the impact. A bullet. It fragmented getting into the skull. There's our fourth injury. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of the mouth. High velocity, temporary cavity in brain tissue. Opinion, fatal injury. Goddamn right. Kim amends the report. The ligature injury was post-mortem treatment, an attempt to conceal the actual cause of death. It was all bullshit. Someone stuck a gun in this man's mouth and pulled the trigger. Kim points it out. Why carry him over and not march him? Unless he was either struggling, which nothing on the body indicated, or he was incapacitated, or dead already. This is a big break, and it proves Hardy was lying to us. But why? What is he trying to hide? Yeah, gonna need to wash up. That was nasty. Assuming I didn't break the sink. So after we bag the body, Kim will be gone for the rest of the day, bringing it to processing. Means we can do stuff he wouldn't approve of, but also we won't have him backing us up. We also won't have radio support until he gets back, which means no Alice. The tutorial pop-up makes it clear this is a big deal, and it will probably advance the plot as well. We'll bag this guy later, but I will want Kim around when we interview the witness. Which won't be long, actually. Another hour and a half of game time, and he should be at home. Dead man approves of the fridge. Thank you, sir. I will take that experience. You just hibernate there while we investigate further. That was lame. Alright, I'll stop. Let's see what the bullet can tell us. I didn't quite mean literally tell us, Hobocop. You have to put some effort into it. Though in his defense, I talk to stuff all the time. It's a thinking thing. Helps sort out my mental chaff from the wheat, so to speak. So yeah, we may be able to match this to a type of gun. Let's look closer. It's a 5mm round. And its core fragmented on impact. Oop, derealization is ready. A jacketed round would have come from a breech-loading rifle, probably military issue. Not something you'd expect your average street thug to carry. Even the cops apparently don't use jacketed ammo. This thing's gonna be pretty unique for Martinez. Pretty good odds at determining the type of weapon, because we pulled a very similar rifle out of the wall. So maybe this weapon isn't just unique, it's antique. Hand-eye coordination identifies it as a Revolutionary period rifle, 4.46mm, which just happens to be the type used with our Belle McGrave. Now our gun doesn't work, so it's not the murder weapon, but we now have a pretty good idea of what might be. So antique enthusiasts, far-off guerrillas, a few gangbangers in Jamrock, a gun like this will draw some attention. Notably, breech loaders are illegal to use in peacetime. Even the RCM uses muzzle loaders instead, which take more time to load. A rather telling distinction between the police and the military. We still don't know enough about our killer to say who they are, but odds are if we find the gun, we find them. Right on. We've just had a major breakthrough, and I don't mean derealization, though let's have a look at that too. So this is curious. It seems like we've had an unbreakthrough, actually. We've kind of separated ourselves from our old understanding of the world and accepted how new and strange everything seems. It penalizes Encyclopedia, but bumps our end caps and gives us a small XP boost for every orb we click on. I think that means the thought bubbles, but if that includes markers in the world, oh, that's gonna add up quickly. It also recommends we talk to Joyce about this, since she's been helping us get a grip on reality lately. Right then. We still need another way to get past that shutter. We also need to clean ourselves up, but most of all, we've got to find the murder weapon. This is a major revelation, but it opens up a slew of new questions. Questions we couldn't even ask a few minutes ago. The next logical step is our witness, so we'll need to see what he says. But do we confront Hardy and his people? Do we go back to Everard? Do we let Joyce know? We've got something the killer definitely didn't want us to know. We gotta be real careful who we tell about this. Anyway, we should report what we saw, or didn't see, to the bookstore owner. She might have some idea how to get past the shutter, short of bumping up physical instrument. Looks like Annette's back indoors now.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework. I have so much homework now.
Aw, back to school for her. Sorry, kiddo. This does give us a better chance at the suggestion check, so let's give it another try. God damn it. 72 is the cursed percentage. There's some XCOM shit going on in this game. Well, guess we'll do that one more time later. Anyway, I suppose math beats standing outside in the cold all day, though only just. She does have something for us, though. A detective's hat, a fedora. Aw, thanks, Annette. I feel edgier already. Gonna need to start doing film noir monologues now. Turns out, this gives a bonus to Encyclopedia, offsetting the penalty from derealization. See? It's all coming together. Granted, it's kind of an ensemble of madness. If anything, this reflects the post-disco era, before the 80s had time to settle on a new look.
Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus?
Oop, gotta get back into character. Or just tell her it's a bunch of garbage and empty rooms, that too. Yeah, can't turn this in without getting through the shutter, and unfortunately she can't help with that. We're just gonna have to bulk up and try again later. I have to wonder if any of this got used by the game company. Or vice versa, come to think of it, that she somehow got her ideas about the spooky stuff from them. That'd be kinda cute. Anyway, we've done at least some good here. Let's move on for now. I do want to talk to Joyce before meeting our witness, but I'm sure both of those will be long conversations. We'll save that for next episode. Just want to ask around a bit first, see if a few people might say something about our murder weapon. Start with Alice real quick. Sadly, no new options. Though she is making progress on the boots. With any luck, she should have an ID on the victim tomorrow, right about when Kim gets back from delivering the body. Worth checking the pawn shop out, and selling the postcard while we're there. Glad we got Annette indoors. It's miserable out here.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
Nothing new with Roy, either. Oh well. Gonna hang on to the gun for now, just in case we need it for comparison. Keeping the ball, too. I'm sure it's got something to do with the two old guys. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this video. Just gonna park in front of Joyce for next time. I do want to get one more thought in, though. I'd like to subject games to what I call the minus the hook test, where if you remove a major feature or selling point, is the game still interesting? And the signature element for Disco Elysium has to be your thought-based skills, the way they bicker and pull you in different directions, and in excess can lead you to some extreme behavior. Absent that, do we still have something interesting to play? Do we have a world worth exploring, characters worth talking to? Is the core mystery still compelling? Do you still want to know who our protagonist is and why he did this to himself? Does it have a style, good writing? Is it well presented? Basically, how sturdy is this game without its tentpole feature? And the answer, so far for me, extremely sturdy. There's always the chance things fall apart in the end, but the combination of mysteries, the different yet recognizable setting, the heavy focus on dialogue and investigation, the advantages and hurdles that Kim adds when he follows you, all this is excellently done. I'm genuinely excited to play more of this game. A less interesting version of Disco Elysium would still be one of the most interesting things I've played in years, and I don't think I can give a game much higher praise than that. So, next time we talk to Joyce, finally talk to our witness, send in the body, get cleaned up, and see what awaits us on day 3. Until then, thanks for tuning in, folks. I'll see you next time.